Happy Sunday evening, everybody. Hope everybody can find me tonight and hear me okay. You say something here so I can get your comments. Hello. Oh, hi, Teresa. Usually if I say something, people's stuff starts coming through. Hello, everybody. Hi, Marianne. Hi, Karen. Can everybody hear me okay? Looks like everything's working all right. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Deb. Oh, cool. I got some little thumbs ups. Thank you. Sometimes I can't see anything or anybody that comes in until after I say something. So things are coming through okay, though. We're in the living room tonight again because this is where all my scan and cut stuff is. So you get to see another part of my house. Hi, Denise. Second here, see if I can get the scrolling to work here. Hi, Deb. Oh, I got a couple of Debs here now. Hi, Donna. So we're going to make some Christmas ornaments tonight. I enjoy doing these. I started making these maybe, it's been quite a while ago. And I used to do a lot of ornaments for the craft shows. And that's mostly what I made. And these were really fast. And I always liked the little round bulbs, you know, the little round Christmas bulbs, but they're really hard to put vinyl on because they're so round, you know, it just doesn't stick very well. And so I belonged to a lot of actually silhouette cameo groups, and those girls make tons of ornaments. And so I learned to make lots of different kinds of ornaments on there. So I'm really enjoying, I like these because I put the vinyl on a flat piece of transparency, and then you put them inside the bulb, and then you can use these little tiny ones. These are so inexpensive, and you can find them all over, and some of the flatter ones are harder to find. Hi, Clara. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Janan. Hi, Jolene. How is everybody tonight? So anyway, we're going to make some Christmas ornaments tonight with the small bulbs, the small round ones, and transparency. And what I buy right on transparency, it's the stuff that we used to always use on the overhead projectors. If you're as old as me, you remember overhead projectors. So this is what it is. It's called Apollo Right On Transparency. And it's just a clear plastic. Now, I bought this on, I'm not a huge Amazon fan, but I got this on Amazon because if you go onto like Staples or in places like that, you're going to pay like $40 a box for this stuff. And it was so expensive. So I got this. It's Apollo Right On Transparency Film. There's 100 sheets of it in this box. I figured it'd last me a lifetime. And I got it for like, I don't know, $12, $13, something like that on Amazon. Oh, did you get yours, Lynn? Good. But I found that I found them on Amazon. I think when I got those, I've had that for quite a while. I want to say I paid $8.99, but when I was looking for other people a couple of weeks ago, it was like $13.99, but that's still not that bad. It's a lot cheaper than $40. So anyway, I would recommend looking online for the transparency film for these. And then I get the ornaments. Let's see, I don't think I have my box here, but these are like the 2.5 inch bulbs, 2.6 something is what they are. So they're about 2.5 inch. And I get these at Hobby Lobby most of the time. Hi, Lori. And you get 12 of them in a box for around, I don't know, $8 or $9, and you can get them usually 50% off. So I got a whole box of them. So it's nice, and these go really fast, so you can do like dozens of ornaments in a real short amount of time. So the hardest part about this is probably cutting the vinyl. So anyway, but we're going to make 3 different ornaments tonight. We're going to do Ho Ho Ho. So here's Ho Ho Ho. So I don't know if you can see it. Tip it so you don't get too much of a glare. So here's Ho Ho Ho. We're going to do that one. And then we're going to do one that says, oops, if I can get it out of here. Oh, what fun. So, and I just uploaded the files for these, so you'll get the file for the vinyl and a file for the transparency, the round circle file for the transparency. And then we're going to do one, we're going to do Silent Night. This is the other one we're going to do. Okay, so I gave you the files for those, the FCM files for these. And in a few minutes, we'll also talk about another ornament that I've done. I've actually put pictures in these too, and you can get a vinyl that is printable. And then you can print like photographs on it, and then you can cut them out in circles and put them in the bulbs too. And that's really cool because then you can put, like, you know, child's pictures, or you can put pictures of a favorite animal. I did some for a friend of mine that takes photographs, and she took the picture of a bridge that's over what used to be over the Mississippi River between Savannah, Illinois and Sebula, Iowa. And they blew it up here. They put a new bridge over it and blew up the old one here a couple of years ago. So anyway, I've got a picture of that I'll show you here in a little bit. But that's another thing you can do with these, and that works really well. There are several different sizes of these bulbs. The small ones are usually these like 2.6 or 2.5, I call them. And then I think there's one that's around 3 inches, and there's one that's about almost 4. And I've got transparencies for all of them. I haven't found the 2 bigger ones yet. I know I've got them, I just haven't found the folder they were in. So I'll try to put those on also later on. So, oops, somebody just texted me, so let me see if it's important here. I don't think so. Okay, so anyway, we're going to start by cutting some vinyl tonight on the Scan and Cut. And I have got all my stuff cut for you, and I've got the files in the machine. And but I've had a little trouble. That's the only thing I've really ever had trouble with the new Scan and Cut. So I have the, you know, the SDX 225. Some of you have the 230D, the new one. And I will also tell you, for those of you, hi Sharon, hi Garnet. But I will also tell you for some of you who have the older machine with the blade settings. So I'll tell you what the blade settings are. But with the new machine, the only thing I've ever had a little trouble cutting is vinyls. Because when we do heat transfer vinyl, also the stuff that you iron on your shirts and stuff, and then the adhesive vinyl, which is what this is, you have to use something called the half cut. And I've had a little problems cutting that since I started using my new machine. So I had to do some playing around with the settings, and I think I've got the settings that seem to work well for me. So I'll talk to you about that tonight, okay? So I'm going to get the camera turned around to the machine here, if you give me a second. And I got to move my computer a little bit. So let's pull this camera over to the machine so you can see it. Hopefully I don't get too much glare. And then it's easier for me if I put the computer a little closer to me here. Okay. And I'll try not to hit the cord tonight so that we unplug and have to start over again. Okay, so here is the opening screen of the machine. And the first thing we need to do is get to our designs. So I'm going to retrieve my data. I put a USB stick over on the side. You probably can't see it. But I'm going to retrieve my data, and it's on my USB stick. And I've got it inside the ornament called Small Floating Ornaments, or inside the file, I should say. So I'll go in there. And I'm going to go ahead, and we're going to do a couple of these ornaments at the same time. There are a couple of, there's a different thing that I'm going to do tonight. I had a little trouble with one of the ornaments I cut because I have a couple different vinyls. So if I hold this up, you might be able to see it. This is a glitter adhesive vinyl. And I had a little more trouble cutting this. It didn't cut quite as cleanly because it is a little bit thicker because of that glitter in there. So I have 2 pieces of that, and we're going to cut those separate from the other pieces tonight because I'm going to use a different setting that I found worked just a little better for me for those. And then I've got 2 pieces of just plain red. So this is an adhesive vinyl. I use a couple of different kinds of adhesive vinyls. My favorite kind is FDC, so it's Frank David Charlie, FDC vinyl, and it's adhesive vinyl, and this is permanent vinyl. So it is shiny, it's glossy, and I buy it from a place called specialty-graphics.com online. The Brother vinyl is actually pretty good. It cuts pretty well. It is not permanent vinyl. So if you're going to put this on stuff like cups and things like that, it may not wash very well. But this doesn't really matter with this because we're not really going to wash our ornaments. So that would be fine for that. So I have that at the store too. But I've always used this FDC vinyl I really like. The other kind of vinyl I like really well is Oracle. And that you can buy often now at Michael's. So Michael's started carrying it here a few years ago. So you can probably find it in sheets or in rolls at Michael's. But we're going to use, this is the FDC vinyl I know tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a couple of these designs. I think we're going to cut Ho 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 out. And I would also then like to add a design. So I'm going to hit OK here. And then I'm going to hit Add, because I would like to add a second one. We're going to do the Oh What Fun as well, because that's going to both be cut out on the standard vinyl. So here's the retrieved data. Again, I'm going to go back to my stick, my small floating ornaments, and this is on my memory stick. And then I'm going to go up in here and grab my Oh What Fun. Now on Oh What Fun, there are these two, I don't know if you can see them very well, but you can kind of see them on the screen. There's two little blips up here, and then the words are right here. The words are going to be cut out of the standard vinyl, but these two little star-like things are going to be cut out of the glitter. So I'm going to cut those in the next cutting. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to pull Oh What Fun down and get it off of Ho Ho Ho. But I'm going to go up here and grab those two little stars. I'm just going to touch them. Maybe. See if I can get a hold of them here. Let me get Ho 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 out of the way. There we go. And then here is my stars. There we go. I got them selected by touching them. And if I go over here then to edit, it gives me a little trash can. And I'm just going to throw those away for the time being because I don't want to cut them with this set of cutting. I'm going to cut just the standard red vinyl that I have here. Okay. So let's just kind of drop these up here wherever, like that. And now I'm going to load my vinyl on my mat. Just a second here. Get my cover out of the way here. And I'm going to lay my vinyl on my mat. I'm going to push my machine back a little bit so I can pull this down so you can see what I'm going to do. So here's my mat. Taking the cover off of it, and I'm just going to take my two pieces of vinyl, and I like to use the lines to help me so that I can keep it relatively straight, and then I know it's going to cut fairly straight. So I'm just going to lay it down. It doesn't matter where. My mat is not super sticky right now, so I'm going to use my little brayer just to give it a good push so that it's down on the mat well. And then I'm going to do the second piece at the same time because we're going to cut out Oh What Fun and Ho 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 first. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this one down over here. I'm going to do the same thing. Use my brayer so that they're stuck down well. Okay. So we've talked a lot about loading the mats into this machine. I love this new machine very much. I love the auto blade function. There was a small problem at the very beginning with the mats, and I think what has happened is that the mats originally were just ever so slightly too wide, so they were kind of pooking up in the center, and then it didn't load well. I never had any trouble because I learned to load my mats by putting my hand flat on the front of the mat, right in front of the blade or the rollers here, holding it down against the bed of the machine. And if you do this every time you load your mat, you won't really have any problems at all. So it's very important that you do this and just be vigilant about it. After you do it a few times, it'll just be habit. Okay, so I'm going to hold my hand here. I'm going to reach up with my other hand and I'm going to hit the load button and just let it glide in. And see, it was nice and flat and it went in very well. So if you've been having problems with loading your mat, I've seen people, I'm going to pull this back so you can see, trying to load their mat by just holding it back here and stuffing it up against the machine. And the older machines were a bit more forgiving, let's say, and then this one is. But I know why. This machine here, the blade is so much, or I'm sorry, the roller is so much further forward because this machine will cut without a mat. And I'm sure that's why that the machine was redesigned. These ledges are also a little bit shorter right here. So I'm sure that's why it was redesigned, because of being able to cut without a mat. So just be vigilant about it. And as you practice, you'll get much, much better at it. Okay? So we got this loaded in here. So I'm going to go back up to the screen. Get it a little higher so you won't get the glare. Okay, so we know where the designs are, and I know where I put my vinyl down here, but we got to make sure that we're going to hit our vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK one more time. And when I get to this screen, hopefully, sorry, you can see this. I'm trying to get the glare off of it. Here is the little button that allows me to scan, because we have a scanner in this, remember? So we're going to scan, going to hit the scan button and start. And the machine is going to scan my two pieces of vinyl so that I know exactly where they are. Oh, Penny, my vinyl pieces I cut at 2.5 inches square. So all of the designs we did tonight, I cut the square pieces, these pieces, and the blue one, 2.5 inches. I actually hadn't told anybody that, so it was a very good question. I cut all of these 2.5 inches, and then this is for the Oh What Fun, the little stars, and this is 1 by 2.5. This little piece of vinyl here, okay? And then I also will have transfer tape, and this is my transfer tape, and I cut it at 2.5 inches square as well. Okay, they're very good question, thank you. All right, so now we have this scanned, so let's look up here on the screen again, and now the machine knows where the vinyl is, and you can see that my designs are not quite right. So I'm going to grab my design and I'm going to pull it down so that it's well within the area of my vinyl. And that's why I love this machine so much, because I can't do that with, I mean, most other cutting machines don't have a scanner in them, so that I have to be able to put my vinyl on with the mat and like count the lines and make sure I've got it in the right spot. I made so many mistakes before I got the scanner, so it's been really great. And of course we have it in the sewing machines too, so it really makes a huge difference. Okay, so I have both of these, as you can see. I think you can see it on the screen fairly well. They're both on the vinyls. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and now I'm ready to cut. Now, cutting with this machine, this is the one with the auto blades. This is the 225. So when I cut, I have to choose cut, which is the same way for the older machines as well. So we're going to choose cut first. Now, this machine, I do not have to set my own blade. So I need to tell it how I want it to cut. When I cut vinyl, I do not want it to cut all the way through the paper. I just want to cut through the vinyl. So when I'm cutting vinyls, both heat transfer and adhesive, I am using something called the half cut. So in order for me to change settings, you can see right here on the screen, I've chosen cut, but now I need to use the little wrench. And I can choose different settings here. So the cut speed on this newer machine was set at 5. It actually cuts pretty fast for me, so I've actually turned mine down to 3. The older machines actually did default at 3, and that usually works pretty well. So we're going to leave that there. The cut pressure, I'm just going to leave this alone right now because we're actually using the half cut, which is going to be on the next page. So I'm going to go down to the next page. And this is the settings that I need to talk about. So the half cut needs to be on. In other words, it's going to cut through the vinyl, but not the paper on the back of this vinyl, okay? Now, this is something that I've been experimenting with. Normally, the half cut is on auto. And I have found that this does not always cut the vinyl very cleanly through the vinyl. It cuts it, but it doesn't always make it easy to weed. And so when we weed in a minute, and we've done that before, you'll see what I mean. I want it to be easy to weed. I want to be able to pull the stuff off that I don't want, and I don't want to have to fight it. So I was kind of fighting it on auto. So what I've done is I've learned with this standard vinyl. So what I've got on the mat is just standard vinyl. This is the permanent glossy type. I found with this vinyl that if I go to the cut pressure of 1, that seems to cut much better, and it cuts more cleanly, and it allows me to weed it much easier. So we're going to set the half cut on and the half cut pressure to 1. For those of you with the older machines, the settings that I use for vinyl, I put the cut pressure on 0, and I put the blade on 2 normally. You may have to do a test cut. Sometimes I have to go up to about 2.5, and sometimes I go down to 1.5. It depends a little bit on the machine, but that is the settings that I usually use on the CM650 and the 550. I use the blade on 2 and the pressure on 0, okay? And this one we're going to have the half cut on and the cut pressure at 1 for the standard vinyl. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm happy with those settings. And I could do a test cut if I wanted to, but I'm pretty certain that this is going to cut OK. So I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to hit start. Let me move this back so you can watch it cut. So while this is cutting, are there any questions? Is this making sense to everybody? I think we've cut a little vinyl in the past. So now these designs are actually quite small and a little bit on the intricate side, so they actually cut very well. When I first got this machine, I was a little concerned about the blade. The standard blade on this machine is a 60-degree blade, when the standard blade on the older machines was a 45. So I was concerned about the detail that I was going to be able to get with this machine. But so far, after I got the pressure figured out, I'm doing quite well with it. So, and you'll see when I start to weed these, they're pretty small. And it doesn't take very long to cut them. It cuts pretty fast. It's very quiet also. So for those of you with the 650s and the 550s, you'll notice a difference with these. They're very quiet. I think it's getting about done. I cut a couple things tonight because I'm working on a little mug for myself too. So hopefully I'll post that a little bit later. It's done and I need to finish cutting it. I think I'm about to have a 4-legged helper here too, because the cats woke up when I started talking to you. So, okay, so I think it's done. And I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to go ahead and unload the mat, hit the mat button up here. And when I unload my mat, when I take these off, you don't want to load, don't just pull them off, because if you do that, remember, we have cut this vinyl, and if you just pull it off like this and bend it over, you often will disturb the vinyl and stuff will get stuck together, and you don't want that. So what I do is I turn my mat upside down like this. I don't know if you can see me. I turn it upside down and I pull the mat away from the vinyl like this. And this works much better, and I'm not going to disturb anything on this vinyl, okay? So I'm going to get the other piece off too, like this. All right, so there's the second piece. Now we're going to weed these all in a minute, but let's go ahead and cut the other two that we're going to cut. I want to do, here's my green that's going to go on the Oh What Fun. This is for those little stars. So let's put that one on now. Again, I like to kind of put them on straight so I can get the designs on there well. So we'll put that one on. I use my brayer. And then this is going to be for Silent Night. And this is, again, that glitter vinyl. And you can buy, you know, there's also like holographic vinyl now. There's all kinds of different vinyls. And I really like these glitter ones. They're pretty. But I did notice that they cut just a little differently. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this mat back in again. I'm going to do the same thing. Bump it up against the rollers. Lay my hand flat and hit the button. Okay, it went in nice and smoothly. Okay, so now let's go back up here to the screen. And we need to remove these two. So I don't need those two designs anymore. We're going to get the other two. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit the little house button here and hit OK so I can go back to the beginning. I'm going to retrieve my data again on my USB stick. And then I'm going to use the small floating ornament folder. And this time I'm going to cut Silent Night. So I'm going to grab Silent Night down here. And I know it's kind of over on this side. Oops, hit OK. And then it's kind of over here, so we'll just kind of pull it out of the way. All right. I'm going to hit Add because I need to cut those little stars for Oh What Fun. So let's do Add. Again, retrieve the data and the USB. And then I'm going to go back to that small floating ornament folder. And I'm going to go grab Oh What Fun again. And hit OK. Now this time, we don't want the Oh What Fun, we just want the little stars. So that one's already selected. Can you see the red around it? It's already selected. So I'm going to go back to Edit. And there's the little trash can where we can get rid of it. So I'm just going to hit the little trash can so it goes away. And then here's my little stars. Okay, so I've got my little stars and Silent Night over here. If we hit OK one more time, then I'm back on the screen where my little scanning button is. For those of you with the older machines, it's roughly the same screen, but it's going to be over here on the left-hand side of the mat. The stuff is kind of in an opposite order with the older machines. So you're going to have your scanning button like over here, okay? And the editing button is going to be at the top, and it has like 3 little shapes on it. All right, so let's go ahead and scan because we want to know where this vinyl is. Just hit the scanning button and hit Start. So put this back so you can see it scan. Is this making sense to everybody so far? Have a lot of you cut, send me up some little thumbs up. Have a lot of you cut vinyls like heat transfer vinyl or adhesive vinyl like this? I love to cut adhesive vinyl. I do a lot of vinyl. Okay, so it's scanned. Let's go back to the screen here. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. Oh, we're getting some little happy thumbs ups. Okay, cool. I really like to cut vinyl. That's like one of my favorite things to do. I like fabric too, but this is really fun. All right, so here's the little piece for my little stars. And I'm going to go grab the little stars up here and make sure that they are within the green area. Okay, can you see the little square there? Okay, and then Silent Night's a little off, so we're going to go grab Silent Night, pull it over, and make sure that it's on the pretty blue glitter vinyl there. That looks pretty good. Okay. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. We're going to hit OK now. Again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to please select. I'm going to please select and cut. The older machines just have the buttons that say cut or draw on them. So it's basically the same, but I just have all the selections on this are in one folder, and the older machine has another file for the other things. So, okay, so here's Silent Night. And here's my little snowflakey looking things. Okay, Now, I also am going to use a half cut on this, but I found that this vinyl, since it's glitter, it's a little bit thicker, I think, and didn't cut as well for me as I would have liked. So we're going to go into these settings again. And again, I'm going to leave all of the first page alone. I'm going to leave my speed at 3, but I'm going to go to the second speed or the second page where I can look at my half cut. So it is on, but I'm going to bump this cut pressure up to the number 2. And that seemed to cut a little bit better for me. I think you could even go up to 3, but I'm not sure. It might go through the paper then. So 2 worked pretty well. I did one on 2 this evening, and it seemed to cut a little bit better for me. So this would be something if you're using these glitter vinyls. They also have some that are like holographic, so you may have to experiment by moving this cut pressure for the half cut up and down a little bit to see what happens. Okay, so we're going to try it on 2 and see how that works. And I'm going to go okay. All right, so I did adjust that, and I'm pretty sure this is going to cut fairly well, so I'm just going to kind of go for it again. I'm going to hit start. When I had my older machine, I actually did do a lot more test cutting, because when I was setting my own blades, I had to be, I had to check a little bit more often. So I don't have to as much with this machine, and I really like that. It does save quite a lot of time. Okay, this is the auto blade. This is the standard auto blade in the black blade holder, and this is my blade that I use for all the vinyls and everything. It is not my fabric blade. So the fabric blade I use is actually the same blade, but I just have one that I mark as fabric, and I only cut fabric with it. I use the same blade that's not marked as fabric for everything else. Okay, so it's doing Silent Night. Doesn't take very long to cut these out. And now it's going to do those teeny tiny little, and they're almost like a little asterisk or kind of like a little snowflake, and they're very small. And I thought it did a very good job of cutting it out. Okay, so I think we're done with that. I'm going to go back up here, and we'll hit OK. And then I'm just going to go back to the little home button and delete the patterns that are in there for now. Okay, so now we're ready. I'm going to pull this out of here, hit this button, and remember to turn it over. Turn your mat over to get your pieces of vinyl off so you don't disturb anything. We'll take that one off and find the blue one here. Okay, and I'm going to set this aside, because we have a little more cutting to do, but we have to weed first. Okay, so excuse me just a second while I move the computer over. Being very careful not to disturb the camera. That's what happened the last time. I finally figured out I actually touched the camera, and it disengaged the camera, and that's why we lost the feed last time. So, okay, so now we need to do a little weeding. So I'm going to bring my camera around here. Hopefully you can see. Okay, so I have this really cool thing called Caterpillar Glow, and I found some that I can get at the store. I can't get the Caterpillars anymore at the store. I did find another light pad like this. They're very thin, as you can see. I love this thing, and it's got a cutting mat, so I can actually use a rotary cutter on this. It's got a cutting mat on the top. But I use this when I weed my vinyl, because then I've got light coming up from underneath. And I found that as I've gotten older, I really need light. So I love this. They have 2 of them that I can get now. There's one that's 11 by 17, which is about the size of this one. And then there's a smaller one that's like a size of a piece of paper. It's like 8 by 11. And I thought that would be a great size that I could put inside my my scan and cut bag to carry with me, because this one's kind of big. So I actually got myself one for Christmas. I'm going to wrap it up and put it under the tree. So I got one of the small ones. So those 2 I can get at the store. This one runs about $99, the bigger one, and the littler one's like $69. So Okay. Hi, Karen. Oh, we got all kinds of people. Hi, Rosie. Hi, Lois. And Connie came in. Hi, Connie. Hi, Lori. Oh, Lori Heckman. Hi, Lori. How are you doing? Okay, so we're going to do a little weeding. Hopefully you can see this. So I'm going to put these down. So let me show you on, this is my favorite weeding tool. This is a long, pointy, it's sort of like a stiletto. Actually, it's very sharp on the tip. So that way I can grab a hold of the vinyl really easily. Some of the weeding tools are not sharp enough. Now the other one I really like, let's see if I can find it in my little bucket here. I have all my other tools here. Just a second. The other one I like looks like a dental tool. Where the heck did it go? I lose stuff you wouldn't believe. Oh, here it is. These two. These look like dental tools. See, they're curved. These work very, very well as well. And so you want something that's pretty sharp, but my favorite one's a straight one. Okay, so we're going to do some weeding. Now when I weed, a second, I'm going to turn this computer just a little bit so I won't hit it. So when I weed, I like to weed kind of from corner to corner. So I'm going to grab a hold of the corner of this with my little weeding tool here. And as you notice, I am pulling it and the sticky part is up. So what's important here is you want to keep the sticky part where you know it is so you don't get it stuck to where you don't want it. Ask me how I know about that one. So as you can see, this one's weeding very well. This is the way you want it to weed. You basically want to just pull the part away that you do not want, just like that, and it just pulls away. And after I got the settings right, that is how it worked. Before I moved the setting to, this was the ones done on setting number 1, you know, the pressure of number 1 on the half cut, I was having to help it weed, and it weeds so easily now. I also want to take these little pieces out of the H. And can you see how tiny these little lines are? They're very, very thin. I would say they're probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, so there's those, and there's even just a teeny little piece inside of each of these O's. Look at that. I might have to put my glasses on in a second. Usually if I weed with the mat, I don't have to put my glasses on there. See how easy that was? Look. Look at those tiny, tiny little lines. They're so small. Yeah, Deb said that Ace Hardware has the dental tools, and I got the ones that were curved that I showed you. I got those at Hobby Lobby. And now this one I got from Specialty Graphics, actually. The company where I get the vinyl, that's where I got this stiletto-looking one. I just love this one. So there's a lot of places that have dental tools. Just make sure they're very sharp. You want them very sharp on the ends, because otherwise you can't get a hold of anything. The little blunt ones, you just can't get a hold of anything. So there's Ho Ho Ho. What do you think of that? That one we did very easily. Okay, so let's get these out of the way here. And let's work on so what fun here. So again, I like to kind of weed from the corner. I'm going to kind of look and see. Here we go. Let's try this one. Now this one, the letter, the OH at the beginning is very small. So again, this is sticky on the top. I've got it pulled back and I'm laying it very close. And I'm going to slowly pull it away. And if you got your setting right, it should just pull away. I've got to help it just a little bit inside these letters here. And inside the middle there. Just to see how that just pulls away. And that's, if the setting is right, it should be that simple. So I did have to work at this, and look how tiny the word O is. See how tiny that is? And what is a little bit thicker. And then their fun was a thicker one. So see how easy that was to weed? Okay, now I will tell you that this one is going to be just a little harder to weed, because I still am struggling a little bit with the setting. I think I still need to play with it a little bit more. This one again is going to be the little stars, and see, it's still going to need a little bit of help to weed it. So see, I have to kind of pull here and get it started. and then I have to kind of give it a little help to hold it down. So this glitter vinyl is harder to weed. It always has been, because it is a little thicker. It's got that, can you see the silver on the back of it? See, the other didn't have the silver, and that's what makes the flecks in it. So again, I have to pull these down, and I might try this again at a setting of 3. Oops. Keep it there. There it goes. I mean, I can get it weeded, but it fights you just a little bit. Okay, so there's the little stars. So I still haven't got my setting just exactly right. Now I did Silent Night earlier, and I had a lot better luck with it. So let's see if I can do this in front of you, because you know it's because I'm in front of people that it's harder to weed. Okay, so I'm going to pull this back. And when I get up here, yeah, see, I still have to help it a little bit. There's a little star that's like the top of the eye there. And it wants to pull up, but I think I got it. And this is the S. So I just need to kind of help it along here a little bit. So the trick with weeding, I actually like to weed. It's very relaxing. But you do have to be a little on the patient side. Because when this kind of stuff happens, it is hard to weed, and you just have to kind of be patient with it. I weeded some really intricate little things. Now my eye moved on me, so see, I still don't quite have the setting right with this. The other vinyl really weeded well, but this is still going to fight me a little bit, and I know it's because of the glitter. And I probably should have picked a non-glitter vinyl, but I really like this, and I've used this for this ornament a lot. Give me just a second here. So as you can see, it doesn't always weed perfectly. If you take your time, you can still get it weeded. Just take your time and don't get in a hurry. The eye, there we go. Have to get the hold of that. This one's really being nasty. The other one, actually, the one I did earlier, actually weeded pretty well. This one's not being very friendly to me. But, you know, you needed to see this too. So, all right, so just be careful of the sticky. You don't want it to hit what you don't want it to get stuck to. And as you can see, I've got a good hold of it over here. Sometimes when I do really large pieces, I have to do what they call, I actually have a pair of scissors here, and I will cut part of this waste vinyl off so that I don't get it stuck on things. And these are so small, I usually can hold on to it well enough. Okay, so that ripped a little bit, but it's okay. All right, so there's that. We're getting close. I may have to adjust my eye a little bit. See, it kind of decided it was going to move over, so we'll just move it down where it belongs. And the L looks pretty good. Stick night back down, and then let's go back and get this little piece here out of the N. And getting closer. I've got a little piece over here on the T that doesn't want to. There we go. All right. So you can see, even though it was a little more difficult, I can still weed it. Just take your time. And if you're concerned about it, you know, don't pick glitter vinyl right away. You know, try that later after you've weeded a little bit and you're more used to it. Because the glitter vinyl is a little harder to weed. I think it's just a little thicker. So I'll do some more playing with the settings, and I'll let you know if I can find a setting that is a little bit more clean when it's done. Because I remember when I was doing them on my 650, I actually cut them all the same and they were fine. But this one seems to be wanting a different setting for the glitter vinyl. So I've got one more little piece to get out. There's a little piece in this T. If I can get a hold of it here. There we go. There. And give me a second, I'm going to get rid of all these pieces of vinyl here so I don't get them stuck on something I don't want them stuck on. All right. So what do you think? There's Silent Night. Oops, still got a piece stuck on my thumbnail. What do you think? Looks pretty good. Okay. So we have weeded the vinyl. Now the next step is going to be, we need to put these on some transfer paper, and I'm going to put them on the transparency before I cut them out, because I tried doing this a couple ways. I've tried cutting these a couple of different ways. I have cut them out and cut the round transparency pieces out that go inside the bulbs, and then I have also I put them on those, but the problem is it's clear and it's very hard to see where they're going. So what I found that works better for me, because we can scan with this machine, I like to put them on the transparency film before I cut them out. So we can cut all three of these out at the same time. So let's go ahead and slide these over for a minute. I'm going to bring my mat over here. Okay. I think, oh, Mindy, you said you use 5 on the half cut setting for the glitter vinyl. Yeah, I haven't tried anything that strong. I do that. I use the number 5 when on my regular blade when I use cut glitter vinyls. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down. This is my mat, and the next thing I want to do is I'm going to bring over and put a piece of that transparency film on it. Now the trick with this stuff, try not to get your fingers on it and get a bunch of fingerprints. So I usually try to hold it like way on the corner here. Okay, and I'm just going to bring it down onto the mat and put it on in the top left-hand corner. Like that, so I know where it's at. And then I'm going to, whoops, second here, I've got quite it on there. I usually take a piece of like paper towel and just pat it down to the mat so that I'm not touching it with my fingers and getting all kinds of fingerprints on it, like that. Okay? All right, so we got that on the mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my transfer tape. And you know, my favorite transfer tape, I've used different kinds, and my favorite transfer tape is still just plain old contact paper. And there are actual transfer tapes, and the Brother stuff is pretty good. It's got a little grit on it, but I still use contact paper. I buy this at the dollar store, and it seems to still work the best for me, so I still use this. It's clear. You know, it's the stuff we used to put on our school books when we covered them up so that we didn't get anything on our books. So, okay, so let's go ahead and we'll grab one of these. Let's do ho, ho, ho here first. I'm going to lay this down. Now, the trick is when you lay this down, don't try to move it because it won't move. Just lay it down like that. And then I have my little tool. This is a burnishing tool. I'm going to burnish my letters to my transfer tape, like this. Then I'm going to lift the corner. Whoops, didn't quite get that one. Sometimes I have to just give it a little help. There we go. Here it comes. There we go. So here is ho, ho, ho. All right, so I've got my paper. I'll put the paper over to the side. Then we're going to put this onto the transparency. Now, on the transparency, we have to be careful, as there's going to be a little stem at the top of the bulb, so you got to make sure that you have room at the top of your mat for that. So leave at least an inch from the top, and then leave a couple of inches from the edge so that you know that you're going to have room. And then I like to put my transfer tape down on one of the lines so that I know that my words are as straight as I can get them. So I'm just going to lay this down. That looks pretty good. Like that. Take my burnishing tool. Then you got to try to find the corner of the tape. So I'm going to pull the tape up. Like that. And that just left my letters on the right on the transparency. Okay, so there's ho, ho, ho. So let's do a second one. Let's do Silent Night. We're going to do the same thing with Silent Night. Going to put it on the transfer tape. And I am using the same transfer tape. You can use it several times. Like that. And then you can burnish it down. And we'll pull this one back up. Okay, it came right off. So here's Silent Night. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Now remember, we want to make sure that we've got plenty of room for the bulb to cut at the top. There's a little stem up here, so make sure it's about an inch down. And we don't want the balls to be too close. Let's put this one down here. I don't get too worried about this. I've got so much of this stuff that I just kind of put them so I know that I won't have a problem with them being too close together. So, okay, so we'll put that down. I like to use my lines to help me keep them fairly straight. And we'll burnish this down. I usually only put maybe four or five on here at the very most, just because I've got lots of this stuff. So, okay, pull that off, and there's Silent Night. Now with Oh What Fun, we got to do a little thing called layering, because we've got two pieces. Remember, I had two colors here. The two little, the little green, little sort of like little snowflake looking things go on either side of the O. So I want to put that on the little transfer paper first. So I'm going to put those on here first and burnish those on. And if you're doing really large pieces that you've got to make sure everything really is lined up, I actually make little, when we'll do this sometime and layer something, I make little alignment marks on my on my vinyl. But this works fairly well just using the eyeball method. So it's not very complicated, and I can usually eyeball it well enough. So I'm going to bring this a little closer to me. And I'm just going to lay this down and eyeball it. That looks pretty good. Like that. Okay? Then I'm going to burnish Oh What Fun on. And I've layered a lot of stuff, but this one is so easy that I don't normally have to make ornament or make marks on here to do it. Okay, well, sometimes fun doesn't like to come off very well. And my W is being particularly frustrating tonight. There we go. It's coming. The fun is thicker, so sometimes it sticks. There we go. It's coming. There we go. Oh, what fun. Okay, I'll put the other paper over here. Then let's pull this over here, and let's set this one down here along the line. Make sure we have plenty of room that they'll cut fine. All right. Then we'll burnish this down. Whoops, where'd my tool go? I spend most of my life looking for my tools. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to get my transfer paper and pull it up. So there's our three designs, and I can use this transfer paper again. So I'm just going to, my transfer sheet again, I'll just put it on a paper so I don't get it stuck on something. Okay. Then I'm ready to do the last step, which is going to be cutting out the round transparency bulbs. So we're going to go back over here to the machine. Get the camera moved again. In a second. Got to wake it up. It goes to sleep after it sits for a minute. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and reload our mat into the machine. I'm going to bump it up against the rollers. Okay. Now, since I have all of these words on here, again, we can bring up our, we're going to bring up our transparency, the round transparency part of this exercise, and we're going to use the scanner again. So let's go back in here. We're going to retrieve data again. I'm going to go to the USB stick. I'm going to go to the floating ornament. And then I am going to go into the one that says Ornament Insert. So I'm going to go grab that insert, and I'm going to hit OK. Now, since we have 3 of these, what size are the balls, Penny? The bulbs are the small ones, so they're like 2.6, 2.5 or 2.6. I don't have the box in front of me, so it's the smaller ones. So here's our insert, but I would like to have 3 of these because we could cut all of these at the same time since we have them on here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Edit, and I'm going to go into Object Edit, and then the first one is sizing it. We don't need to resize it. I know it's the right size, but the second one that has the little plus sign on it gives me the ability to change the number that are on the screen. So I'm going to do, I want 3. So let's go up to 3, and I'm going to hit OK. So now I've got the 3 bulbs here, and we know they're not quite in the right spot. So I'm just going to kind of pull them apart so that they're not touching each other. And then I'm going to scan my mat again. So we're going to hit OK, and OK one more time. And then here's that scanning button again. So let's hit the scanning button and start. So it's going to scan so that it will help me arrange those bulbs so that they're perfectly around my designs. So I tried cutting the bulbs out of the transparency first and then putting the vinyl onto it. Oh my gosh, I had such a time because, you know, it's clear and it was really hard to see and get it lined up. This works so much easier to do it this way. So I've been playing around with that. Okay, so up here on my screen now, you can see the bulb outlines and you can see where the designs are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my bulbs roughly around the area that they need to go. Okay, whoops, that's not quite right. So just kind of get them rough, and then this one needs to come over this way. And then we can go into the editing screen and we can zoom in so we can really see what we're doing. So I'm going to hit Edit. Let's go ahead. We're going to do a What Fun first. That's the one that's selected here. So I'm going to hit Edit. And then the button up here that looks like the little spyglass is the zoom. And this will zoom it in to 200%, or if you go up one more, hit it again, it'll be 400%. So then you can really tell where you're at. So in order to go up and down and side to side on the mat, see, I'm way up at the top, and I had the other one selected. So let's go. These buttons here will let me go side to side. This button will let me go down the mat. So I know the other one's down in this vicinity somewhere. Here it is. Oh, what fun. So let's get it so we can see the whole thing. This is at 400%, so that way I don't have to put my glasses on. So these move around the mat. These buttons here move the design. So I need to come over to the right. Kind of overshot it. I need to come over, back over to the right. And then I'm going to come down. Whoops, I need to go up a little bit. So if you use these arrows, then you can move the design around so that it is perfectly where you want it. So I think I need to go back over this way a little bit more. And down another one. Now, I will tell you these are relatively close, so they will fit, but they're going to be quite close because the designs are, you know, none too small, but it will fill the whole thing. So you can see, because what I did when I designed these is I put the bulb up around them so that I made sure that they fit nicely. So you can see I could maybe go over one more little bump. That looks pretty good then. Okay, so I've got this one. I'm happy where that one is. So let's hit OK. And then I'm going to go select Silent Night, and we're going to do the same thing. So let's go to Object Edit. I'm sorry, we're already in Object Edit. And then I'm going to hit the zoom in, and here's Silent Night. Let's go bigger so I don't have to put my glasses on. And then we're going to move down the screen. So there's Silent Night. Let's make sure it's on the screen there. That looks good. Then I can move the design with the top buttons up here. So we need to go, whoops, we need to go this way, to the left. Okay, whoops, kind of overshot it. It moves kind of fast if you hold the button down, so just be careful. And I think I need to go down a little bit. Nope, need to go up. Let's go up a couple of bumps. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, so I think I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to go, let's see here. There, I think I like that better. And then we're going to hit OK. And now we need to go up to Ho Ho Ho. So go up and select Ho Ho Ho. I'm going to go back to the spyglass. And then let's go up to 400%. And then I'm going to move down just a little bit so I can see the whole thing. Not quite there yet. Sorry, it takes me a few bumps to get going, get it up there. Okay. Now we're going to move the design. Let's move the design over a little bit. That looks a little bit better. And then maybe down a little. The H here kind of swings out, so you have to be a little careful that that doesn't get cut off. So I have to kind of watch it a little bit. Let's go back this way. Let's go up a little bit. But this is so neat that we can do this right on the screen, because this was so much easier after I figured out that I could do it this way, because I could not get my designs on my transparency straight when I was trying to put them directly on the transparency. So see here, everything's within the bulb, and I'm happy with where that looks. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK for that one. So now we know that they're going to cut exactly where we want them. I can hit OK one more time and one last time to get over to the cutting screen. All right, now this transparency film does not need to be cut with the half cut. So we're going to tell it to cut right here. And then I'm going to go into the settings again. And I'm going to go down to number 2, and I'm going to turn off the half cut, because I want it to cut all the way through the transparency. I am going to put my half cut pressure back to auto. I like to reset back to the normal settings in case I forget to do it later. So I always just do that when I'm working with this. I'm going to go back to the first page and just make sure that my cut pressure is on auto, my cut speed's on 3, and my cut pressure is on 0. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. I'm happy with those settings. And this time the machine will just cut with the standard auto blade function. So I'm just going to hit start. I'm pretty happy with, I know it's going to cut fine, so I'm going to hit start. And we will now cut the transparency. These are very fun to do. When I saw these online, it's been quite a few years ago that I started doing these, and they're so much fun. I love these little bulbs, but they're so hard to put vinyl on the outside of, because they, like the glitter vinyl ornaments we did, they are so small that it's very hard to get everything to stick because they're so round. This way, everything is flat and it looks like it's round. So they're very cool. Okay, So I cut the 3 circles around my designs. Give me a second here. I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm just going to hit the little house button up here to go back to the beginning. We'll unload the mat. Now this is something else that's a little tricky. What I like to do, you got to be a little careful with this transparency stuff. It can rip. It's a little bit thin. So I'm just going to carefully pull this. I will pull this straight up. So just be careful around your little bulbs that you don't pull off that little tab at the top, because we need that little tab to keep it from falling over. Okay. So here are the 3 bulbs. Can you see the transparency around them? All right. So I'm going to carefully remove these. I'm going to grab them from the little tab at the top. So I'm going to push this back, and I'm just going to very carefully wiggle it off. So there's the first one. So here's this one. Let's see if I can get it up in the camera. So there's the first one. Okay, I'm going to set that aside so I can see it. Okay, let's see if we can get the second one off here. I'm grabbing them up on the little tab so I don't get my fingerprints all over them. So here's the second one. Here's Silent Night. And then set that aside. Let's see if I can get this Oh What Fun off. Okay. Set my mat aside, and here's Oh What Fun. Okay. So now I'll show you how to put them down into the bulbs. Okay, just a second here. I'll set it aside so we can get to it. So move the camera again. So you come back over here to my mat. I really like this mat. I use it when I'm working in here because my living room is not terribly light. And this has really helped because then I even just work on it when I'm working on crafting here in the living room because it just is so much brighter. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to show you before we put these in the bulbs is the other thing that I've done with vinyl. I've actually done the photographs in the vinyl. So here's my ornament that I made with the Sebula Bridge. I don't know if you can see it very well. This is a Sebula Bridge picture that my friend Connie took. She won a couple of awards with this. And one year she wanted me to make Christmas ornaments for her. So what I did is this is printable vinyl. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I got some printable vinyl. And it's sort of like, you know, it's adhesive vinyl, but you can print on it. You can run it through your inkjet printer. So here's some of the round circles that I made with the bridge on them, okay? And just so you know, let me get my little piece of paper out of here. These smaller bulbs, if you want to put photographs on, you need to print your pictures 2.35 inches in a circle. And then what I do is I cut this vinyl, just like I cut the vinyl with the like Oh What Fun on it. I cut this vinyl and I just use a circle in the machine and cut it at 2.35 inches so that it just cuts right around the color picture. It's just ever so slightly smaller than the little insert because I want there to be a little clearness around the picture so that it looks like it's floating in there too. So that is done with the adhesive vinyl. And then you can just print a picture on there. And the 2.35 inch circles work really well on these little ones. So that's the other thing that I did. So this printable vinyl, people were having trouble finding it. What I have found was the Cricut vinyl, and it's called printable vinyl, but evidently Hobby Lobby's not carrying this anymore, and they have their own brand, you know, so that Paper Studio brand, and they have printable vinyl there. I bought some last week. So they do have it, but it's under the Paper Studio label now, and it's the same stuff as this is, okay? So that's another option you can do with these floating ornaments. You can put photographs in them. Like that. So that was Connie's picture. And I made a couple of sizes for her. There are a couple of other sizes of inserts for these. I have not found them on my computer yet. I know I've got them, and I hope to put them back up on the group as soon as I find them. There's about a 3-inch one And then the other one runs around 4 inches, I think. The biggest one I think is a 4-inch one. And I know I've got them, but I just can't find them. So I will put them up as soon as I find them. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put these into the bulb. So here's, oh, what fun. And I have my little bulbs prepared. So here's my glass bulb, and I took the little topper out of it. So, you know, the little hanger part, I took that out. Make sure that you don't have any of those pieces of glass sticking in the top, because we need to put these down through the top. So what I do is I try to carefully, and I'm going to make sure that I don't have a bunch of stuff on my fingers. So I like to be very careful with this and try not to get a bunch of fingerprints on them. So you got to roll this up like a sausage. I'm rolling it with the vinyl in. Roll it up like a sausage. Got to hang on to it and then slide it through that hole, and it just unfurls. Haven't quite got it in there yet. If you're having a little trouble, I take my weeding tool, oops, and then drop it, and then drop it in. So there's the first one. Oh, what fun. Okay, so let's do another one. So here's my bulb. Let's grab Silent Night. I'm going to roll it up and do the same thing with the ones with the pictures. I just roll it up, slide it down into the bulb like that, and there's Silent Night. Let's do Ho Ho Ho. Oops, I got to find the other bulb. I figured once I got done with all the classes, I'd have all my little Christmas ornaments done. I think I did almost a dozen of them. All right, so roll this up, hang on to it, and then just slide it down through the bulb. Okay. If you have a little trouble getting it in there, just take the weeding tool and adjust it. So now there's a little piece sticking up here. You can probably see it right here. And you're going to have to trim that off, otherwise it won't lay nice and flat. So I'm going to take my scissors and just trim that off a little bit to the top of the ornament. And sometimes I got to pull it up just a little bit that it doesn't get stuck there. There's that, okay. And then we're going to take the little top back on, and I like to put the little prongs of the top behind the transfer, behind the transparency, so it kind of holds it in place like that. And then it holds it in there so that it doesn't slide around on you. Okay, so let's put the other ones in. Okay, and I'll trim this one off too. Careful not to get the little end that you trim off down inside the bulb. I've done that before, and then had to try to get it out of there. Okay, slide that down, and I just kind of put it behind it to see how it kind of holds it in place. And somebody asked me if they could put like fake snow or something. Oh, sure. That works really great. You could put like fake snow in there on the bottom. Some of those little foam looking little things for snowflakes. Yeah, anything. You can put stuff in the bulbs too. Okay. So then I can get this one. And slide it over. There. I don't think I've got that one quite cut off enough. I may need to cut. You can tell if you get them cut off enough because they kind of bend a little bit when you put the top on. So I like to make sure they're trimmed enough. Put it behind there. There we go. So there's our 3 ornaments. And then what I do is I just put some ribbon on. I use about 10 inches of ribbon and make a little tie on it. Now Connie wanted a little bow on hers, so I made a bow on the one with the ornament or with the bridge in it, and I just hot glued it to the little silver part, and then put the ribbon up here too. She wanted bows on hers, so sometimes I put the bows on and sometimes I don't. Just depends on what you want to do. Okay. So what do you think? You think you can make some ornaments? Aren't those fun? And they're really fast and easy. And they're fun to do. Like you can put people's names on them and like the year. You know, like if you want to put the child's name or your whole family, put your names on them and put the year that you gave them to everybody. What a nice gift. And then they look like they're just floating in there. When you put them on the Christmas tree, they're really pretty when the lights shine through them. So, okay. Are there any questions? Does this all make sense? Now, oh, by the way, the transparency setting for the older machines is I set the blade at 2.5, 2.5, and I set the pressure at 0 for the transparency film. Otherwise, the auto blade just cuts it, and I use just a standard auto blade setting. Okay? Aren't those fun? Yeah, I always have fun making ornaments. I just love making ornaments. When I did this class years ago, I did both glitter and these in the same class, but I wanted to split them up this time because that way I could show you, on the first class, I showed you how to actually glitter the ornaments. And I'd never really shown anybody that part before, so then I did them in two shots this time. Aren't these fun? They're really easy, and they're fun. They're so fun to do, and you can just do anything with them. You know, any kind of design you want. Okay, but I have already uploaded these 3 design files and the insert to the group, and it's up in the top of the announcement, so you can download the files to try some. Try some of your own files if you've got other things you like. What you'll need to do is make sure that the design is small enough to fit on the transparency. So you can do that even in the machine. You can bring the little transparency round thing up and then bring your design into it and then shrink the design down so that it fits in there well. So it makes it real easy. Whoops, second here, I'm trying to get the, sorry, I'm having trouble getting this to scroll, guys. Cool. Isn't it fun? Yeah, Sharon, you'll have to try some. So aren't they cute? Yeah, I really enjoy making ornaments. That's one of my favorite things to do at Christmas time. I sold tons of ornaments on when we did our last couple of craft shows. I sold vinyl, vinyl ornaments is what I sold. So I did a lot of these. My favorite one that I ever did was a bigger one, and I know that's where the dang thing is that does the 3-inch bulbs. It was a nativity. So I'll find it and I'll upload it as soon as I find it. I just haven't found it yet. Hopefully I'll find it tomorrow. I meant to do it today, but I've been working on Christmas presents today. So, okay. So that is our final class. Can you believe it or not? The final class for 2019. So, so we're not going to have classes for 2 weeks. We're going to take the holiday off. So we will not have a class then until, I got to get where'd my phone go? We will have a class on Sunday. You get I think it's January 5th. Does that sound right? Find my calendar here. So yes, so January 5th. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the software classes to the first Sunday of the month. People were having trouble remembering the Tuesdays, and I don't always make it home very early. So I am going to start doing software classes on the first Sunday of the month. So we won't have the sewing class, we'll have a software class, and then we're going to have classes each Sunday. The other 3 Sundays we'll have a sewing or a scan and cut or a embroidery class, okay? So starting in January, be watching the group because I'm going to be putting the new stuff up. The 5th will be the software class, and we're going to make patches. One of the girls in Davenport really wanted to learn to make patches. So we're going to do that in PEP, in Perfect Embroidery Pro. And then on the 12th of January, we're going to start a block of the month. We're going to have we're going to do a quilt, and it's going to be a block of the month for 3 months. And it's called Starting Over, so I'll put that information up, and that'll be the 12th. And then the 19th, I haven't decided on the class for the 19th, but the 26th, we're going to do the Valentine pillow. I did a Valentine pillow last year, but most people never saw it because I started this group after Valentine's Day. So we will we'll do the Valentine pillow at the end of January. So I've got one more class to pick out, and that'll be for the 19th. Okay? So be watching the group because I'll be putting that information up probably in the next week or so. All right? So are there any other questions about the ornaments? Is everybody going to go home and make ornaments now? Get your standing cuts out and start making ornaments. They're so much fun. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around so I can say goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. And I wish everyone the happiest of Christmases and Happy New Year as well. And I'm glad that everybody enjoy your families. So that's why I'm going to take a couple weeks off. I want to make sure everybody spends time with their family for the holidays. And I'm going to have a little break, so that'll be nice. So Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year. And I will see you shortly after the year 2020. Can you remember when 2000 was? Everybody was just all worried about computers and everything for the year 2000, and it's 2020. Oh my gosh. Where is time gone? So anyway, thanks everybody, and I'll be watching the group. I'll be putting all the new stuff up for the new year. So thank you. Good night, everybody.